Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In case you are new in here, I would like to inform you people that on this channel I make videos related to history topics, some general topics concerning English, and I also post some book review videos sometimes. Today I'll be dealing with one of the most important topics of Indian history, which is the life and teachings of Gautam Buddha. So let's begin. Now, things which we are going to cover in this particular topic will be the early life of Gautam Buddha and what teachings did he propose. We will learn about 4 noble truths, Eightfold Path, and 3 universal truths which he proposed. So let's learn about Buddha's early life first. Gautam Buddha, also known as Siddhartha, was born in 563 BC at Lumbini, Nepal to Suddhodana and Maya. So Suddhodana was his father and Maya was his mother. Now, within a week of his birth, he lost his mother. So he was then brought up by his aunt Gautami, and this is how he got his name Gautam, after the name of his aunt, or you can say his stepmother. At the age of 16, he got married to a beautiful princess, Yashodhara, and at the age of 29, he was blessed with a son named Rahula. Moving further, we see that Gautam Buddha was not, very happy and satisfied and interested in his married life. He was very disturbed and annoyed, by the miserable conditions of people. He really wanted a solution. He could sense and analyze the hollowness of the worldly pleasures on witnessing the plight of an old man, a dead body, a deceased person, and an ascetic. So he was really disturbed and frustrated by the sight of all these 4 dreadful sights and fickle-minded people, and how the people were driven towards materialistic pleasures and worldly pleasures. And which is why Gautam Buddha decided to leave his home and wander and search for truth. He wanted to free people from all those agony, pain, and worldly pleasures which ultimately gave people terrible livelihood. So he wanted people to come out of all those dreadful situations, basically. And hence, in 573 BC, he left his family, he left his wife, son, and all the comforts, and this incident has been coined as the Great Renunciation in Indian history. This comes as a very important section when MCQs are concerned. So when he decided to leave his worldly, all the comforts, luxuries, and his family, this was a phase of abandonment. So he decided to abandon all the things, and he decided to go and wander in search of truth. So this was coined as the Great Renunciation in Indian history. He further proceeded to Bodh Gaya, sat under a peepal tree, and after 49 days he attained enlightenment. He gained supreme knowledge and wisdom. This process came to be known as the Great Enlightenment, and since then he came to be known as Buddha. So this is how you see a very minute details when you go through the early life of Gautam Buddha. You see he also learns Sankhya philosophy at Vaishali. Then he moves to Rajgriha, where he learns the art of meditation. He practices meditation. He goes for penance, but he very soon realizes that fasting would not give him his prime motive. He would not be able to achieve his aim, so he decides to take up milk, and then he goes to Bodh Gaya, the enlightenment happens, and then after that incident he came to be known as Buddha. So there are a lot of minute details. So when you're preparing in greater details, then you can have thorough knowledge of that. Otherwise these knowledge will suffice if early life of Buddha is concerned. So these were some of the details we need to learn about Buddha. Now we will briefly talk about his teachings, or the path he showed to the world. So let's move further. Buddha's teaching has a very broad coverage. There's a lot to learn under the teachings of Buddha under this broad topic. But in today's video we will be learning about Buddha's 4 noble truths, the Eightfold Path, and the 3 universal truth which he proposed. What are these and why did they actually propose? What did they actually propose? So let's first learn something about the 4 noble truths. So Buddha proposed 4 practical, radical, noble paths in his 4 noble truths. The first being the noble truth of suffering. According to this, we suffer because of our lives, because our lives are meant for struggle. We are meant to do struggle and live our lives. We can never attain satisfaction, and suffering is because of existence. So this was the simple thing which he wanted to propose. Second one was the noble truth of cause, or the origin of suffering. Now how did we got to suffer? How did we get to suffer? What was the origin of suffering? What was the noble truth or of cause or origin of suffering? So according to this practice, the cause of suffering is our desire and greed. No outside force is responsible for our suffering, but our lost control in our minds. We ourselves are responsible for our suffering. Our greed, our desires are the elements which push us into the trauma of suffering. The third was the noble truth of end cessation of suffering. According to this, when we are able to overcome our own faults, our own weaknesses, then we succeed in ending our suffering. And the last one is the noble truth of the path leading to the end of suffering. So according to this, the path which we can follow to end our sufferings are many, like meditation, yoga, journey to enlightenment, etc. And this brings us to the noble Eightfold Path of Buddha. So you see, I have written all the Eightfold Paths which he proposed. So basically the Eightfold Path will comprise of 8 practices, like right speech, right action, right means of livelihood, right exertion, right mindedness, right meditation, right resolution, right view. Now the upper 3 will help you in controlling your physical these 3 practices will help you have a control over your physique. That is, you will be able to have a physical control over yourself by practicing these 3 paths. Now the second 3 will help you have a mental control over yourself, and the last 2 will lead you to prajna, or development of your inner sight, your inner self. These were not merely superficial things, rather these were the radical practical approaches which Buddha proposed, which you can follow in current scenario as well, to attain peace of your mind, to attain knowledge, to attain wisdom. So these were the Eightfold Path proposed by Buddha. And now we shall move on to the 3 universal truths proposed by Buddha. What are they? Let's see. So the 3 universal truths were: nothing is lost in this universe, which means nothing in this universe is permanent. Things keep changing and we too should change accordingly. Second one is everything changes. Now this denotes change is inevitable. That is, pre-proposed theories, notions also change. Change is the law of nature. This is inevitable. You cannot avoid this. It has to happen, and it will happen. The third one was the law of cause and effect. Now this simply means that present is the result of our past deeds and roles, and future will be determined by our roles and actions in present. So what we are now is the result of what we were in the past, and what we are going to be in future will be determined by what we are today. So yes, this was it. Actually, you can add much more details to the teachings of Buddha. This topic, as I said earlier, has a broad coverage, but as for now, I guess this much details are sufficient. You can even make a full-fledged note out of this, and I'll also try to put the PDF of the content in the description box so you can check them out. And also, if you like the video, please consider liking it, sharing it, and subscribing to my channel. Thank you.